To the chagrin of many, the Big Ten might just run all of college sports now. That and how the Final Four plays out on today's Locked On Big Ten Squad.
You're talking ball with the Big Ten Squad, sponsored by Game Time. From USC to Ohio State, from Michigan to Oregon, from Nebraska to Washington, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big Ten weekend. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up, you're part of the Big Ten Squad.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to this week's Locked On Big Ten Squad. I'm your host, Spencer McLaughlin, neutral arbiter of all things college football. Zach Anderson-Yaxheimer of Locked On Bruins is here with Mark Colkin of Locked On USC. The LA rivalry's in the house today. How about that? Jay Stevens of Locked On Buckeyes. Speaking of rivalries, we just got to pair everybody together. Roman Tomashoff of Locked On Huskies is here. And then Isaiah Hull of Locked On Wolverines. This is a nice little rivalry pod that we have. I just realized that because Jay Stevens decided to join right as we ran the intro. And I don't know if anyone's offended that their team isn't in our esteemed Locked On Big Ten Squad intro out there, but you know, I'm sure it keeps people awake at night. Kind of like how the Big Ten keeps people awake at night, right, Zach? Because all the Big Ten seems to do is just win national championships. That's kind of the thing now, right? Football 3 in a row and basketball 50% chance. I'm sure they won't blow it. We'll talk about that later. I mean, does this feel like the era of the Big Ten just dominating this new world of college sports?
I mean, it seems like obviously when the conferences merged, NIL became a big factor. SEC supremacy has gone by the wayside, and heck, even their baseball stranglehold might be gone. So everything from football to basketball, men's and women's, and baseball, it seems like all the sports from fall to spring owned by the Big Ten with all the money and the switching of the transfer portal.
Mark, you think it's as simple as that once everyone was, aggressively able to legally pay players above board, that it just kind of leveled things out and swung things in the Big Ten's favor?
They say money can't buy you happiness, but it sure can buy you a whole hell of a lot more, right? Look.
Except an Oregon national championship.
Oh, there it is.
There are some things that will always hold true. With that being said, look, right now, if you've got the money, you can put together a really good roster, whether it's basketball, football. I don't know if it's trickled down to baseball yet, but yeah, it's feeling. If you're one of those conference rah-rahs, now's a good time to be a Big Ten fan.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to deny because, Roman, you look around and, I mean, I'm trying to envision a world in a major sport where the Big Ten doesn't have a player at the national championship table.
So I have to start this with saying that all of my esteemed colleagues in the top half of this here show, I'm extremely disappointed in all three of you because none of you use the term Conference of Champions to describe the Big Ten, which is very clearly happening.
There's only one Conference of Champions.
It's true, RIP. But the best parts of the Pac-12 were all brought to the Big Ten. If you want to go that far with this,
yeah, this is true.
So but that really is the case, and it's a lot of fun, right? Like this is what it was all about for especially our four schools. At the end of the day, it was about finding more ways to continue to stay relevant as the Pac-12 died off. Sadly, unceremoniously, and the fact that we do get to see this all year round and now get to be part of this, it's a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, don't forget that it's back in a new iteration, and
the Pac-12 8-way,
the Pac State, as I like to call it. It is the Pac State Conference. If you don't have state in your name, you are not invited to the cool kids table. Them's the rules.
Then what's Gonzaga?
That was a good point. Yeah, didn't. Well, they're not a full-time member.
They're few and far between, right?
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah. Gosh darn it! Now I have to rethink my entire Pac State mantra. The Pac State sounds so good and fluid, though. It's smooth. It's smooth, like a good pour into a tall glass. Anyway, Jay, the Big Ten has just been on this incredible run. Ohio State's been a big part of that. Can you see a world where in football or any other sport, the Big Ten is not at least putting a team into the Final Four? I mean, this is what, four years in a row in every major sport. The Big Ten's putting a team there. They're not getting left out of anything.
No, I don't see it changing unless there's a lot of injuries to a lot of really good teams late in the year, or one of the schools ends up not having a really good coach. That could be the downfall. But no, the Big Ten's been put in a place where the expectation now is Final Four in football and in men's basketball. And so you kind of have to – did I forget somebody in women's? I don't follow the women's tournament like that. UCLA did make it. Sorry, Zach. Sorry. I apologize. But
they're good, too. They're really good.
It's all about to me, coaching is big, too. Like, we look at the players and what the players do, what the money can do to make the roster really good. You got to have good coaching. College basketball, yeah, you got to have good lead guards. Now you got to have good big men, too. But you got to have good coaching. And the Big Ten's found a way to get everything needed to be a Final Four in multiple sports.
So that's the answer to your question, Spencer. Money will buy you a lot. You still got to get good coaching up there.
I would say it's the two biggest coaching hires of any cycle, right? You have Michigan with Isaiah, right? You have Dusty May being hired on the men's basketball side, getting Michigan back to prominence in men's basketball. And the most surprising, greatest hire of all time, Kurt Cignetti with Indiana. That's been the two biggest hires in both those sports, and that's led to a lot more depth and success for the conference overall.
Isaiah, you want to weigh in?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, just to touch on the football of it all. Jonah Laia, who transferred over from Utah with Kyle Whittingham. We met with him today. And one of the first things out of his mouth, because everyone else that we've talked to from Utah that followed him has been like, yeah, I loved everything that Kyle Whittingham did while I was there, and I had to follow him. But Laia is like, I want to play in the Big Ten. And we ask, why the Big Ten? And he's like, because they've won the last 3 national championships. That says a lot, right? So you have that, and other sports even, like, Michigan and Wisconsin are in the Frozen Four right now. And I understand that's kind of expected to have a Big Ten team in the Frozen Four. But I mean, even still, the fact that now that everything is somewhat even, that's why you hear Nick Saban being like, this is just unfair. We've got to change the NIL, right? It's like, oh, really? You think that we can change it now, huh? Because NIL was working so much better for them when it was just called recruiting. So, it's pretty incredible what the Big Ten has been able to do. I think it just speaks of just how the conference is. It has an appeal. I understand the SEC has an appeal as well, and I think a lot of it's weather related. But ultimately, the Big Ten has all these traditional institutions that have these grand cathedrals and football and basketball and everything. And I think that you're starting to see that now that money's involved, it can attract the top talent in all these sports as well.
Yeah, I think you lay that out very well. And also, once you started talking about the weather advantage, Zach and Mark were probably perking up going, what's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with warm weather football all the time. No one needs to play in the snow. Right, guys? That's exactly what you were thinking?
Just rained in Southern California yesterday.
Yeah. I'm actually in Southern California right now. It rained for 20 minutes and it was barely a sprinkle.
When we were in bed.
Yeah. Well, I was at Disneyland, but no. Mark gets to bed early. That should surprise absolutely nobody. So when we get back, we're going to break down each of the Final Four games. Will Michigan break through and get to the national championship game against Arizona? Can Illinois pull it off against UConn? That coming up next right here on the Locked On Big Ten Squad. First, this episode brought to you by our friends at TurboTax. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment, that's not the most convenient. Sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth, wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve, while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing that your taxes are being handled right. Head to TurboTax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment today. Check them out at TurboTax.com/local. All right, Isaiah, we will start with you. Jay couldn't handle it talking about Michigan for that long. He bolted, just absolutely repulsed at the notion. But you take on Arizona. in the Final Four this weekend. Where's your confidence level?
I mean, it's about 50-50. It all kind of just depends on how Michigan shows up. Ultimately, I mean, I think Arizona's obviously the toughest team that they'll have seen yet. I liked what Jay Billis said about it. He said that basically Michigan's got a front court advantage, whereas Arizona's got a back court advantage. I think maybe with Elliot Cadeau not traveling today because he had apparently an allergic reaction to something he ate. That, that's kind of not a great harbinger of potential things to come there. But
I love that.
Ultimately, I mean, if Michigan plays the way it's capable of and not fouling a lot and getting Arizona to the foul line, I mean, they're third in the country as far as that's concerned. And Michigan doesn't tend to foul a lot. So as long as they can play ahead of the whistles, essentially, and not put Arizona on the line and get them in the double bonus, I think that they've got a really good shot.
Yeah, I mean, all these teams are really good. I don't know how many people, I'm sure some did, picked Illinois to get to this spot, but they can really score.
I
no.
Did.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Well, I guess you're next. Where did your confidence in Illinois come from? I thought they were good. I was kind of a death taxes Kelvin Sampson kind of guy.
So for me, it came down to a couple things. It's the length on the offensive glass and how good they were in that category throughout the season, and then their ability to shoot the 3-pointer. Like it was just one of those things where it was always going to be a little bit of a high risk, high reward thing in terms of like brackets, right? But when the 3-pointers are falling, there were hardly any better teams in the country. We saw it throughout Big Ten play, right? Like when they couldn't shoot, they were off. And when they could, they looked like a juggernaut team in this conference. And I thought that was a lot of fun to see. And just, again, what they're able to do with that rotation of bodies in the front court and how they crash the – whoa. Bless you, Spencer.
Oof. Dude, that was –
He's sneezing on that PS. I mean, there's no way you got all that from like one Illinois game you watched at Washington.
Wait, you guys didn't hear that, right?
No, but
No.
we heard the
Okay,
we saw
just
you.
making sure my mute button worked because I got to tell you, that was aggressive.
No, I didn't get all that from one game, Zach. I just watching Washington basketball has just made my brain melt out of my ears at this point. But it's been a really fun team to watch throughout the season.
Washington basketball, so bad they lost to Oregon at one point in time. Speaking of so bad they lost to Oregon, Mark from Locked On USC wanted to bring you into the conversation here. If both favorites are victorious, we'll have an all Big Ten national championship. Are you rooting for that, or do you not care?
I actually want to see Hurley in the finals so I can watch him lose in the finals and just watch him lose his ish on national TV.
Yes.
I don't know. Look, you talk about losing to Oregon. USC lost to Washington both times this year. At least they split.
3 times.
Oh my gosh, did they
3
really?
times.
That's right. Don't remind me. Robin.
2 of the times they had 7 scholarship players.
Oh my gosh, Musselman, what are you doing?
So, yeah, I'm looking for entertainment value, so I'm looking for Hurley to lose on the big stage.
That's a very logical way to look at. Quick show of hands. How many of you are a fan of Dan Hurley?
It goes back and forth.
Yeah, that's kind
I'm
of
the only one.
Mick Cronin and Dan Hurley share this spotlight of who can be the biggest little man.
See, here's the thing. Cronin's a little bit more whiny to me, but I'm overall okay with it. Hurley
He's funnier in the post.
Hurley is just straight up mean, and I love it. I can't get enough of Dan Hurley just berating everybody and everything under the sun. I'm here for it. Zach, are you here for it?
I mean, I'm here because UCLA has played every single one of the Final Four teams, from Arizona early to UConn ending their season, obviously the Big Ten opponents. I blame Michigan for losing to Duke because Arizona, Michigan should be the national championship game. They're clearly the 2 best teams, and I don't think Illinois is tough enough to get past UConn despite being more skilled and a bit better. So I think it will be UConn in terms of Arizona, Michigan. That's as much of a toss-up as it gets. As you mentioned, Isaiah, backcourt versus front court, but Michigan has this major killer instinct that they can be down 15 and they'll still beat you by 30. And I'm not sure if Arizona has that, but Arizona has found ways to go beat UConn before, beat Florida, get wins in some of the biggest games in this country with some fabulous freshmen. but Michigan has hit the portal hard, and they got talent up and down the roster, including maybe the best portal transfer of them all in Yaxel coming to Michigan.
And your guy, by the way, thinks Michigan will win. Mick Cronin went out and said that he picked Michigan over Arizona. So
Aday Mara was the single biggest shifting. That transfer is the most impactful. I'd say even more than Yaxel. Him going to Michigan kind of made that a super team. Obviously getting a number one player in the portal, but Aday shifted so much of the balance of power that him leaving UCLA cost them a chance being top 10 all throughout the country, and just added to that depth, being the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. And then you can keep going in the post. They've got so much with Michigan, just a little more so than Arizona.
Let's go around and officially make our picks on this one. Isaiah, we'll start with you. According to our friends at FanDuel, Michigan a slight favorite of 1.5 points. Both of these spreads, to borrow a football term, because right now I'd much rather think about football than basketball. But I understand that that's the time of year that we've got. These are sub field goal spreads. Michigan minus 1.5. Illinois is favored by 2.5. Isaiah, who gets it done in the Wolverines and Wildcats battle? I would argue, for the letter W supremacy.
I'm going to go with Michigan just by pretty much by that margin. I just think that they've seen it all throughout the year. Both teams have played a lot of high caliber teams. I think Michigan's been a little bit more battle tested in the late era of the season, and I think that's going to play the big difference.
You think Michigan's winning by exactly 1.5 points? That would be revolutionary.
They're going to find a way. They find a way otherwise. They're going to find a way to win by 1.5.
Yeah, Michigan 74.5 to 73 over Arizona in the first push in NCAA basketball history on a half-point spread. Roman, Michigan or Arizona?
Yeah, I got Michigan here. I think they just have too much talent, and they can really overwhelm in this sort of game.
Mark, who do you got?
I want to pick Michigan, but look, it's all about the backcourt, especially at this when you get to these games. I think you got to go Arizona. It's going to go overtime, though.
Oh, little overtime pick. That's how the half points come into play. No, they'll play 4 overtimes, and at the end they'll start shooting half-point free throws. That's how they'll get to the half point. They'll invent a new rule. Who do you like, Zach?
I'm going to go Michigan. Michigan can fall in love with the 3 and take too many of it at times, despite their interior advantage. But they do shoot it better than I think Arizona does from 3 overall. So that's where the backcourt advantage shifts back to Michigan in a sense. I'm going Michigan.
I got to stick with what I put in my bracket and ride with the Wolverines. I'm taking them by 4. 70.5. 70.5 to 66. They get it done. Will Illinois join them? Boy, that would be electric. First, this episode brought to you by our friends at Robinhood. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Check out Robinhood today. And if you want to bet any of these games, check out our friends at FanDuel. The tournament is here. One of, if not the best time of year. Brackets, buzzer beaters, upsets. It's nonstop action from tip to final cut down, which we will have soon. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a way to stay in the action all tournament long. Here is the best part. You get up to $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days. That means 10 chances to stay involved throughout the entire tournament. You can mix it up however you want. Game picks, futures, or even same-game parlays for bigger potential payouts. It's perfect for the tournament because every day there's something new. Different matchups, new storylines, and more ways to get involved as the bracket unfolds. So visit FanDuel.com to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com to get in on the action. Whatever you're looking for, college football over-unders are there, college basketball, it's all there. Check them out at FanDuel.com. Let's flip to the other side of the bracket to wrap today's Locked On Big Ten squad. And someone has to speak for our guy, Sonny Verma of Locked On Illini, who is not here, unfortunately, today. Of all the shows that he could have shown up for, you'd think this would have been the one. But
joke's on you.
Yeah, here we are. So I volunteer as tribute to serve as the Locked On Illini host. And
I apologize to Sonny for that.
Yeah, I'm the first Locked On host to ever be affiliated with 3 programs, and is that enough? Absolutely not. I'm aiming
Isn't it
for
4.
I'm aiming for
Pac-12.
5.
Oh, that's
you got
true,
Pac-12, college football, Ducks, and now Illini.
If you're going for past and current shows, yeah, I guess that would be 4. So that's 4 with my new status as Locked On Illini host. So when I look at Illinois, they've got one thing going for them more than anything else, that Indiana just rode to a national championship. And that's an elite transfer from the California Golden Bears, who is now the star focus of the team. This is a tried and true formula that is batting 1,000 in its success rate. I don't see how Illinois could get it done. Zach, why don't you, or how they could not get it done with that going for them? Why don't you start us off? UConn or Illinois? Who's your pick and why?
I mean, your point was said so eloquently that I don't know how to combat it. I will say UConn is a little tougher. And I think the number is Dan Hurley hasn't lost after the Sweet 16, if I'm not mistaken there. So that's got to be taken into account.
He's lost one tournament game in the last 3 years.
And that was to the champion as an 8 seed all the way on the East Coast. So I'm going to go UConn in this one. Terrace Reed is a big factor down low. If Mullins hits another big 3, he's going to be red hot. Caravan can hit shots. Now, Illinois has a much better offense. They have better shooters. They have one of the best freshman guards in the country, 6'5", 6'6", and Keaton Vogler. That's a dude that UConn just doesn't have. They just do not have. They're just not tough enough inside beyond the rebounding. They don't play good enough defense. And UConn can expose them, even though Illinois is a lot more talented. I'm going to go UConn.
I'm offended as the host of Locked On Illini that you would pick against my lifelong team. Mark, who are you going with?
I already said I'm picking UConn just so they can get to the big game, to the final game. And I don't know. When it comes to Danny Hurley, his teams, he might not be the guy you want to play for, but his players play for him. They're mentally tough, and I don't know if there's anything that Illinois is going to be able to do to kind of get them off their game, especially if it's a tight contest.
Roman, are you gonna take an all Big Ten national championship game?
I really want to, but I can't. I just think that with what we've seen from UConn, especially with that massive comeback they mount against Duke, they're just too battle tested. Dan Hurley, as you said, Spencer, lost 1 game since after the Sweet 16. Those are the sorts of things that I just don't think this Illinois team has. I don't think they're there yet. I do think they're more talented in almost every facet, but you can't make up for experience in this case. And I think this is going to be UConn. Yeah.
Isaiah, does nobody here truly believe that Illinois is going to expose UConn for the complete and utter frauds that game was lost? Duke gave it to them, kind of literally there. Or is UConn really just a team of destiny here?
Listen, Jason Candle just arrived there. I really trust Brett Bielema with all of his ability to just continue to do what he did at Wisconsin and Arkansas, and then with the Fighting Illini. No Luke Altmaier this year, but still, it's, I think that there's a lot. The Big Ten versus I just don't know how Jason Candle can get it done in year 1.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'm sure many people know the Big Ten hasn't won a national championship in basketball since 2000. if either Illinois or Michigan are able to finally break that drought, it will be a pretty epic arrival for the league once again to just keep rattling these things off. Is anyone at all concerned about the lore of trying to break a drought like that? Because I tell you what, I watched my Mariners try to do it for a long time. It takes some serious effort, and it takes a lot. Like, eventually they got to break through and win one of these, right?
So wouldn't
You
the
think so? I mean, the West
Arizona
Coast hasn't won one in a while
Wildcats
either.
College basketball.
Say that again, Mark.
Wouldn't the Arizona Wildcats kind of qualify as like the Chicago Cubs of college basketball? It's been what, 97 since they won? But
The Cubs didn't
I
win
don't
for
think that makes them
104
the
years or
Cubs.
something.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like 3 of our lifespans, Mark. Like, that's Spencer, myself, and Roman. Like, we haven't seen anybody in the West Coast win. We've only watched, like, all the other teams.
Breaking a long streak. It's been since when for the Big Ten? It's been longer for Arizona, is my point. And Arizona is a basketball school.
But that's one
very
team
good.
versus a league, though. At the same
Okay,
time.
well, I'm not a league guy, so I'm picking the team.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, all right. My head wants me to pick UConn because Dan Hurley is just a complete and utter psychopath, but I think our friends at FanDuel know something. I'll take Illinois. I'll take Michigan. Give me an all Big Ten national championship for us to talk about next week right here on The Squad. Zach Anderson, Yoxheimer, Locked on UCLA. Mark Colkin, Locked on USC. Roman Tomashoff, Locked on Huskies. Isaiah Hull, Locked on Wolverines. We had Jay Stevens of Locked on Buckeyes as well. I'm Spencer McLaughlin from Locked on all over the place. I mean, one of these days, I'll be hosting all 67 or however many college channel shows there are. I'll make it work somehow. So anyway, all right. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. And until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.